Hello everyone and good evening again to AOR ACC Round 5. It's been a while. Well, it's been no longer than the last time I saw you, to be honest, but it's been a while nonetheless. Anyway, free practice again currently as we ride on board with Competizione, who finds once again that Porsches are very tail happy if you get it wrong. Right, moving swiftly on. It just occurred to me that you couldn't see that, which is probably for Quarantine will probably thank me for that. Anyway, let's move on to what we can actually see. Okay, great. What we have currently is free practice, as previously mentioned. Let's find out someone who's out on track. Axel Petit running around in. Okay, we're not having this again, are we? Okay, that's just what I didn't want. We appear to be back to the Dark Ages again. Mr. Ulti is what I'm on board with currently. Let's cycle through what we have on him. As nothing appears to be working. Ah, we were qualifying already. I am spoiled indeed. Who's going to be first out? Looks like Mr. Noble's going to be first out. Or Ulti, who knows? Let's have a look at Noble. Everyone likes to look at Noble. That's what we have currently. He's changed his livery a little bit since last time, I've noticed. Hello again, Minolin. My wonderful screenplay things that we used to last time have not quite worked out this time around, sadly. Very hit and miss. Oh, I love it when something doesn't work. Right, anyway, moving on. This race is an hour and a half with 2 times time progression, and I'm told the temperatures of the track will drop a lot from the start of the race towards the end of the race. And that could make things interesting, because you have to get a compromise on your car setup, because you can't change your setup midway through. You can change your tyre pressures if you choose to change your tyres halfway through, which I imagine most people will. But regardless, you cannot just be changing. You need to find a compromise in your setup which will work well with the hot temperature at the start and the cold temperature towards the end as the evening progresses in and the track cools off, etc, etc. Anyway, currently trapped on Mr. Noble because this is working not as intended. Anyway, I'm sure that will screw me over later on like it did at Zolder. We'll leave that there for now. Anyway, very, very top speed oriented track, as well as what people don't look at so much on this track is the fact that you need good braking performance and you need very good acceleration. Something which some cars possess a lot more than others. Noble has voiced his concerns in the past about how his Nissan doesn't quite get off the corners as well as he'd like. However, I would like to direct your attention towards some of the Aston Martins that we have running around today. Namely, Isaias Rayla showing in P8 on your screen right now, Willem Carson in P12, and Lusty's changed to the Aston as well, I think, down in P23. Those cars are known for their... I don't want to call it turbo lag because that implies that it has power. There's minimal power underneath the only sort of 5500 RPM in the Aston Martin, and that's not going to help people out whatsoever. Especially coming out of the slow chicanes, especially turn 1. You're going to, I'll say turn 1, little complex, you know what I mean. That's going to cause people to struggle significantly, and in no uncertain terms as well. We might be able to get some good on boards with that later on in the race if we find an Aston stuck behind someone and failing to get off the corner properly because it's an Aston. But anyway, let's try and find someone other than Mike Noble. Who let's have a look at who's next on track. TM Ulti. Still in his Audi. He's expressed his concern about the Audi, but the Audi does a very good top speed. Apparently they use their LMP1 program to develop the rear wing of that thing, so it has little to no drag, but equally as much downforce, so that thing expected to be rapid on the straight, and I'm not sure about the rest of it. It doesn't like curbs so much, so it's got that not going for it. Next on track we have Jaroslav Honzik in his McLaren 720S. I don't know much about the McLaren strengths and weaknesses here. We'll have to wait and see where his pace is in relation to everyone else, as he's currently 4/10ths off the pace of Alexander Petit in his AMG. AMG is a very strong car here. Big straight line speed. Very good. And something that surprised me, I thought the Ferrari was quite bad on in terms of top end, but Lozanov showing that he can still get that thing pretty high at the leaderboards as far as where we go so far. Black Gold Saw, you notice, has changed his car to the Porsche. He moving away from the Bentley. I assume he enjoys the Porsche. Well, I don't think people enjoy the Porsche. It's more a case of hanging on for dear life, and if you can do that, it will give you good lap times. If you cannot do that, then, well, you're in for a little bit of a painful experience. Salvatore Amato, I haven't seen him around for a while. He's got a set provisional pole at 147.5. I thought that was my time screen bugging out. I thought A, there's no way Amato is here, since we've been having a lot of technical issues recently, and B, there's no way he's put that Ferrari on pole, but he has. That's a great lap by him, 147.5, 0.012 ahead of Axel Petit. And here we're seeing what I was talking about with the AMGs being extremely strong here. We have second, third and fifth, all AMGs, and one cone police driver, so you don't usually see up this end of the grid. Up this end of the grid right now, because AMG's strong. AMG does drink a lot of fuel though, unless you put it on map 2, so we'll have to see how that pans out during the race. Ferrari's also putting in a good show as well. Lozano moves back up to P4 with that lap as Noble takes pole again. Big surprise. And Samuel Ratz as well in P8. McLaren seems to be doing okay for themselves in P8 and 9 at the minute respectively, as two Porsches go and jump up the field in terms of Dominic Girls and Black also. Let's see who else we have on track currently. Norbert Morvai in the Lexus. Struggles to get a bit of a gauge on him as to whether he's quickest. He's had some races where he's done absolutely amazingly, and some races where he has not perhaps done so amazingly. I'm not sure whether those outside circumstances or whether it's the Lexus or what, but anyway, Lexus are a very good all-rounder, I think. As we'll move to the next car further back on track, which I believe is going to be girls. Yes, it is. I'm correct. I can do liveries. Yeah, no Lambos. The people who were driving Lambos, I think, are no longer showing up to the league, or they have switched out to other cars. Amir Hosseini was in a Lamborghini and is now no longer in a Lamborghini. He switched back to the AMG, so Amir Hosseini. Where is he? I can't see Amir Hosseini on the leaderboard. I'm completely blind, or he is not here, which is strange. Definitely going to cost him a few championship points at the very least. Anyway, Axel Petit is where our next driver that we're going to ride on board with, and his new AMG, very aggressively coloured one, the ARC Bratislava car. They used to run a Lamborghini, if I remember rightly, in the AM class a few years back. But anyway, this is 2019, not a few years back, so ignore that for now. And in the back, is that a new Ferrari entrant, or is that just someone who has a new livery? Ah, it's Salvatore Amato. That's me thinking it's a new entrant. I haven't seen him much around. Still doing extremely well for himself in P2. He's going to set himself up for a very good race here. Ferrari's good of a race distance. And apparently good in qualifying too, as Lozanov takes provisional pole off McNoble by less than 100th of a second. Less than a 10th of a second, sorry. I cannot do mathematics today. Arguably I couldn't do mathematics all to start with, but anyway, let's gloss over that for now. Next behind him is the Black Hole Saw. That's his new, fresh Porsche livery, looking quite nice actually. I don't know if he's being held up currently by Salvatore Amato, but I'm sure he'll become very angry very quickly if he feels that's the case, and I think he's backed off his lap to water tyres. And speaking of his old car, the Bentley behind him, Robert Pagodl, still sticking with the Bentley in the 612. Currently in P26, not doing himself too many favours, but yeah, he's yet to set a lap, so I expect that to go quite far back up the leaderboard as soon as he manages to get a lap on board. 6 minutes after qualifying, it's about a 2-minute lap here. That's 2 minutes on average. That hard pull is 1:47.2. But yeah, you don't have as chance to get as many laps in here as you would do at a shorter circuit like Zolder or Brands Hatch, for example. So each lap counts for a lot more if you mess up, as Black Hole Saw has caught stuck on the apex of Parabolicas. His Porsche loops around on him. It's going to cost you a lot of laps, and well, the more the track gets rubbered in, the quicker you're going to go. As Lozano's in the pit lane, and Ulti is our next car that we have going around again. Let's see who else we have. Wonko is just come out of the pit lane and may have crossed the white line of pit exit, which may upset the game. I'm not quite sure how the game and particularly this handles pit exit infringements. Anyway, behind him is Mali. We haven't seen him in a while. He was involved in the lap one incident at the Nürburgring that we saw, and hasn't really featured much on our screens since then. But he's currently sitting at P17, just over a second off the pace. Very not. I was about to say very not too bad, but that's not how you say English again. Decent performance for him so far. Ferrari looking to be pretty strong here at Italy, which will please the Tifosi, or whatever they go by nowadays. Who is next that we haven't had a look at yet? Chaleza Pack in his Lexus. Still get to score a point so far in this championship, which it would be surprising if you can see his pace from especially some races this season and last season. I'm not quite sure what happened to him, but he's going to be looking to escape P25 at the very least. Next guy on track we have Prenter. Did very well last time. He got P2 question mark overall last time. P2, P3. He was definitely on the podium. I think he came third behind Noble and Lozanov. Lozano just kind of crept up on him and took the victory here last time at Brands Hatch, as Prenter goes making sandcastles off at the end of Lesmo 2. And we'll enter the pit lane. Gene Frest is also in the pit lane. Robert Pagodl we have, Gene Frest. Mick Hugendorn has changed the livery. That's still the same livery as it was before. Never mind. As we still have Marley going around. I'm using the resigned to using the shift keys to navigate around until my broadcasting software decides it wants to function again. Let's give that a quick test, see if it decides to work. Nope, we're still in the dark in terms of broadcasting software, which is very upsetting indeed, but we'll have to wait this one out. Yeah, that's not working as intended. Right, moving swiftly on. Let's move on to who else we have next. We have Wonko. Gene Frest, who we just saw in the pit lane earlier. He's done himself. He's a decently fast driver. So he's only 6 tenths off the pace and down in 11th. That's a very tight grid indeed. Noble still unable to topple Lozanov for pole currently. That's Ferrari's looking strong here, much to my surprise. Maybe it has a slightly different BOP at Monza to maybe not restrict the engine just as much. Ferrari conspiracy confirmed. Let's see who else we have around. Just 2 minutes left in qualifying. Time flies around in front. We have Prenter, who's going to try and avoid the gravel this time around on this lap, and does that just well. Takes all the curb you want and more. Aid the Ace. Haven't seen much of him this season. Well, I'll tell a lie, we have. He's been in some very good battles in the midfield, and still knock around that sort of place now in P18. They find the time that ADA's put down. Oh wait, it's on the screen there, I can't read. I forgot it was at the bottom right. 1:48.2. Very quick indeed. I imagine 47s is what the top guys are doing. 47.2 still our pole. And Lusty changed car to the AOR Motorsport 762 Aston Martin away from his Audi, I believe he was running before. Changed from the Audi 2018 to the Aston. He may have found himself struggling here, as I outlined earlier, and he very much does find himself. The highest Aston we have currently is Willem Carsten in P22. That's testament to that car's low grunt at low revs. Very much struggles here. He's going to hope to at least beat Carsten. Anyway, he's got a 10th or so to find to do so. Can he do it? Shot shoots to the line. What can you get? He does not improve. There's Capo still sitting in the pit lane. 2/10 off the pace. Down in P7. Samuel Ratson, we haven't had our screen on for a while. Doing very well stuff in the championship, which I'm going to bring up shortly when this qualifying session has ended. Show you how our championship sits after our last round. Because we have some interesting updates after our last result, as with Hosseini not doing as well as he could have, and apparently not showing up to this race either, for one reason or another. Sometimes life gets in the way. .30 seconds left in the qualifying, so you've got 30 seconds across the line, otherwise you're not going to be able to set another lap as we watch Prenter going around track this time around. The ace behind him, and there we have Lusty, and we catch Jaddy in the background spinning around. Not what he wants to see, as Samuel Rats has gone to the pit lane after completing his lap. I think that's going to be it for most of the drivers as Prenter comes across the line. Could it be P19? Can he improve? He does not improve, still says P19, that's going to be disappointing for him. Although it appears the Lexuses are nowhere near as good here as they were at Brands in the wet, the highest one being P16, says Norbert Morvai. 0.8 off the pace. Not a good track for this guy, it seems. Where we do have a good track though is AMG's galore. So we're going to bring up our timetable while we wait for these cars to cross the line. In pole position, I was talking about AMG's one co-secures a fantastic pole position. I talked about him not being up this end of the grid too often, and well, maybe Monza's his track and AMG's his car, because he's done himself very well to get that high up. Beating out Lazarnov by 0.063 of a second is Ferrari, followed by Mike Noble, Dominic Girls, Mick Hugendorn, Axel Petit, Salvatore Amato, Capo, Aid the Ace, Samuel Rats, Pelise, Morvai, Honzik, Gene Forest, Black Gold Saw, Pagodl, Andrade, Chloe, Prenter, Malik, Cryptic, Karsten, Berges, and to Desert Pack. And that is all that we can see for the time being. As while we wait for this session to end, I'm gonna bring up something that you may not have seen. Well, you haven't seen this week's anyway. You've seen last week's. We have our current championship standings. It's very interesting. Mike Noble, after getting P3 last time out, has taken P1 in the standings with 130 points, close behind him Prenter, who also got a good few positions last time around after getting another podium. Lazarnov jumps up a lot of positions from the last time out after winning the race. Hosseini with his P8 drops down to P4 overall, as still very tight, only 24 points off the lead is Hosseini. They have Norbert Morvai. He's not been winning many races, but he appears to have been finishing quite well in a number of them, since he is 101 points in P5. Then working way down the leaderboard, we have Chloe, Rats, Goldsaw, Petit, Honzik in P10, and then Cryptic, Wonko, Karsten, Gene Forest, Varela, Wolf, Pelise, Marlon Andrade, Aid the Ace, Lusty, Quentin Berges, Adlexis, Ismail Ganesu, who now goes by Capo in game, Dominic Girls, Jakob Torvinen, who Jakob Torvinen isn't here today, I don't believe, as I've got my wonderful helpful thing showing up. Anyway, we have 1 more minute till we start the race, where I'm going to continue to go through our standings. Where are we up to? Jakob Torvinen. Tia Multi is in P26, as he is moved away from the Audi to... Andy Ilsey's still in the Audis, and you never mind. We can see him on screen there, the number 969 car. We've got Robert Pagodl, Mick Hugendorn, Christian Hanna goes by 2 Desert Pack in game, Salvatore Amato, Darren King, Bo Dixon, MTR Mali, and Covey and Stefan. We have 28 point scorers out of 35 registered drivers. Hopefully a few more of those drivers are willing to get on the scoreboard today. Hopefully Salvatore Amato is in prime position to do just that. So let's... As we currently staring at Prenter, let's cease staring at Prenter and have a look at the leaders. We're gonna be... What have you been saying to me since you've gone? Hey, morning everyone. Once again, we're not going to be going green this time around, so ignore this green flag. We're going to be going the next time around. So we have one manual formation lap, ignoring that very helpful race engineer. Doing a manual formation lap under... manual formation lap under the control of Wanko in his AMG up front. The reason we do this, I've been rightly informed from last time, is in the past everyone would just be holding full throttle down and waiting for green to go when they can mash the throttle and leave, and then everyone would pass turn 1 a lot closer than they would do if we had this manual start, which, because everyone has to react to the leader, not a green light on their screen, we essentially get the chance to spread the field out a little bit before we reach turn 1, which at Monza especially is going to be especially useful to get as many cars through their one piece as we can. As I think Salvatore Amato is not quite up to the back of this first train. I'm not entirely sure why he's not up to the back of this first train, but it shouldn't take him too long if he gets the hammer down. Let's see, Wonka warming his tyres up quite aggressively. I think sooner or later the track is going to do that for you. The track is pretty warm right now. I don't know exact temperature at the minute, but I can assure you it's getting pretty toasty out there. It'll cool off later on, but, you know, maybe he's just trying to get his pressures up. That would be a good explanation, as Amato still hasn't caught the back of the grid yet. Ah, there he is, coming under the bridge where the old oval, I was about to say used to be, still is there, it's just not in use anymore. Because that thing is insane. Coming towards Parabolic, and I'll see these guys forming up in 2x2 as Hooligan Dawn forgets what side of the grid is meant to be on. But we've got that all sorted out pretty soonish. As that's a great shot of all the cars going down to Parabolica waiting to start the race. We have McNobles in P3. He should be at the other side of the grid if I remember rightly. Anyway, possible formation issues aside, with Mike Noble potentially being on the wrong side of the grid. Failing to read the rules, shaking my head. When you're used to being on pole, you've got to remember what it's like to be in the dark depths of P3. Anyway, around about now, Wonko is in control of the start and can floor it whenever he wants. He's going to probably want to do that sooner rather than later to get as much of a good advantage into turn 1 as possible, with his AMG trying to out-drag everyone else. And there he goes. Lazanov, good start in response. Gill seems to be caught napping a little bit as Noble comes to the outside of turn 1. This is a classic shot. I remember 2017 Monza in real life. There was just carnage in the background. Anyway, little carnage to be had here. Wonko makes it clean through turn 1 as expected, getting on pole, and gets away pretty cleanly as we have drivers behind all filing through. Seems to be point stables. I forgot that was still up. Do apologise. I'll get rid of that now. Right. Now I have that over and done with, and we can actually see what's going on now. We'll get back to what's going on the screen. that's not the points tables. Mike Noble's already on the back of Wonko. He's closed up the gap that he left at the start to try and be a little bit safe, as Lazarov has dropped all the way down to P4, as we see, as Girls has jumped him. Petit's going to be next in line to get around Lazarov as well, but for now let's stick with Mike Noble and Wonko as they fight for the lead again. This is a similar story from all the other times that we've... a very similar story to most of the races that we've had. Mike Noble doesn't quite qualify in pole, but then straight away he's pressuring the back of whoever out-qualifies him. In this case it's Wonko to hold him off in the Nissan. He's going to look to the inside at Parabolica straight away, knows that that's not going to happen and pulls back in behind him to try and slipstream all the way down to turn 1. He's already on him. Can he make a move on the second lap of the race? As we finish our first lap, no big instance that I'm aware of, but then again my Pearson Theatre crash cam TM is not quite functioning as I imagine, as Berchez goes all over to track trying to avoid slipstream behind him from Lazarov. As Petit takes out Lazarov going to turn 1, that's going to be costly of his championship standings, as Lazarov has got a drive-through penalty for that as well, which is, I would argue, very unfair. They got a stop-go penalty no less for cutting the first chicane after being wiped out by Axel Petit. That's very unfortunate indeed. As just forgive me just 2 seconds while I clear that, because I'm sure people won't be too upset about that, because that was most unfair. Anyway, back to what we have going on here. Dominic Girls is still on the back. Dominic Girls has escaped Axel Petit after his earlier incident and has caught up to the back of these two guys who are fighting nail and teeth. And Girls is looking very strong in that Porsche. Probably another very strong car for this track. As we have the top 4 all within a second of each other, less than that. Coming down into Parabolica, Wonko defends, switches back to the outside of the circuit. Noble's probably a little bit upset about that, but what can you do? You've got to find a way around him, not through him. There's top 4 cars still within a second of each other. Petit's going to be looking to the back of Dominic Girls coming to turn 1. Hopefully he can avoid a repeat of what happened last time around. Girls looks all the way to the inside to defend as far over that white line as he's allowed to go. He's still on the inside. Petit's got the run on him in his in the AMG powered AMG, I suppose. Much lead from Petit this time around. Can Girls keep it as Wonko outbreaks himself, and that releases Mike Noble into the lead. I very much assume that'll be Mike Noble disappearing to the sunset. Anyway, let's have a look further back at what's going on between Wonko and Girls now. Girls has kept his position from Petit. I don't know what quite happened to Petit, but he appears to have lost a few tenths. Girls looking around the outside of Wonko into the second chicane. He's going to be very brave. He's going to fire back in and think better of that one. Still P2, 3 and 4 all very close to each other. Mike Noble is disappearing off to the sunset slowly but surely. I think that might be the last we see of him this race, unless he makes a mistake. As goes very wide at the second Lesmo, kicks up a bit of dirt and loses a bit of time down this second long straight down towards Ascari. As we see the AMG pulling away a little bit on the Porsche, as Petit's contact early seems to not have affected his straight line performance. He's closing up to these guys very quickly indeed. As again, all these as Amato's joined on the back of this gaggle as well. Let's move our camera back to Berchez as we have Petit having to defend for Amato. As Amato tries to go around the outside at Parabolica, he gets the move done just about. It's going to be a drag race down to turn 1 between these two guys. Well, we're only 10 minutes in, we've already got a lot of fighting going on as Dominic Girls has dropped the back off Wonko just a little bit as we focus on these. As this little battle of one on the front of Mato's going to look to the outside, forcing Petit to defend. Who's going to be better on the brakes? Petit has the inside line. Amato better on the brakes as Petit touches Girls and Girls is round. And that's going to be position for Petit and Amato. A little bit of controversy there again. I'll have to see how quickly Girls can climb back up to the back of these guys, as Petit is still on the case of Amato, trying to make up positions wherever he goes, but seems to be losing them. Not going to make moves to the second chicane, that's going to be very wise. Petit takes all the curb he can at Lesmo 1, trying to get a good exit out of Lesmo 2, trying to challenge Petit into Ascari. He's going to have to get this move done before Ascari, I think, because Ascari isn't very someone who will be selling side by side. Ascari is somewhere where you want to take as much of the curbs as you can and hold on for dear life. That AMG is closing, and that Ferrari is going to struggle a lot on this race to defend into, especially turn 1. AMG can be very angry on the bumps, especially through Ascari. It's quite easy to lose your car there from what I've seen. What I've been told by Wonko, who is no slouch, as we've proven here. Petit still looking into Parabolica. He's not going to make that one stick, he's going to try and make the move into turn 1 again. As Petit is still right under the rear wing of Amato. Amato's going to stay all the way to the right hand side of the track, not going to afford Petit any space to go to the inside. You can see the inside to an AMG here and you're pretty much done. Amato stays to the right. Where's Petit going to go? He doesn't force the inside, he takes his route on the outside. Can he go around the outside into the first part of the chicane? Amato holds his line and Petit's going to have to give that one up, and does. Gets lost a little bit of time on the sausage curb, and Aid the Ace is all the way up in P5. After the going-ons earlier, Pleased up into P7. Capo up into P6, a lot of drivers going here. Hukendon's dropped down a little bit. Lozano's dropped down a little bit, as you saw earlier, and I do not know where Dominic Girls has gone. I think Dominic Girls may have actually entered the pit lane, potentially. Corentin Berges has entered the pit lane, that's for sure. You can see that on our screen. Now he's probably received some damage from somewhere. I'm not entirely sure where he's got that damage from. Rats is all the way down P17 as well. Potential issues for him. I can't replay any of this because the luxuries that I usually have in terms of broadcasting software appears to have gone somewhat AWOL on me. As Petit is still trying to find a way around Amato, but Amato appears to be just edging out a little gap a little bit, as in the background we see Capo closing up to Aid the Ace to try and get that P5 spot of him. As let's have a look at happenings a little bit further down the grid a little bit, if this is starting to stall out, which I think Amato has definitely got the pace over Petit at this stage in the race. Potentially that damage from Petit starting to show its ugly head a little bit, but, well, at least some of it was definitely his fault. The rest of it I assume the stewards will be looking into sooner rather than later. The fact that we have Prenter in chat suggests that Prenter's race may not have gone quite as to plan. Gone from 0 to 0 from Podium last race to, I assume, the pit lane this race. That's unfortunate. I'll have to see what happened at some point after the race. As while I've been talking about that, Petit has caught right up to the back of Amato again, so maybe just a little lapse in performance. I'll have to see how this one transpires. He's 2/10 behind him at the last split and he's right on his bumper. He's going to have to be wary for moving to Parabolica potentially if Petit can hook up Ascari well enough. Using all the edge of the curb, as the same with Amato, as the background area, the ace gets very sideways out of Lesmo 2. That could open the door to Capo to overtake him potentially as well. I'll have to wait and see how this transpires. As Capo's also looking to the inside at Ascari, we'll have to see how this one goes out. Capo sticking his nose in there. He's going to have to leave room. That's compromised either through Ascari a little bit, and that's definitely going to open the door to Capo. Some great offensive driving from Capo there, it must be said. As in the back foreground we still see Petit on the back of Amato. As Capo looks to the inside and Parabolica, can he get the move done? ADS going to have to leave the space, he leaves plenty of room on the inside. Very fair racing room. As in the background we have Hugendon catch up to the back of Police as well. In fact, I believe that's Hugendon past Police. Yep, Hugendon past Police coming out of Sky into Parabolica as well. We missed it off screen, but we see the results of it now. Police dropping further down the grid. Police is going to look to re-overtake Hugendon's turn 1. Let's see how this goes for him. He's going to fall back in. He's nowhere near close enough. As Capo's managed to make the move stick on A the Ace as well. And we'll look to run away as quickly as possible. We have some orange bollards in the middle of the track from our earlier excursions. You're right, Ulti's made his way from 27th to 13th because some great driving from him. I haven't caught any of it on screen, but I can only assume that's gone very well for him indeed. As further up the road, Petit is still trying to attack Amato and is going to look into Lesmo 1 and doesn't make it stick. And not someone where you can really force a move unless the driver makes a big mistake on the second chicane. He's going to try and focus on a good exit out of Lesmo 2. A lot of curb on the inside. Might have compromised exit a little bit, but the AMG power is going to make up for that compared to Ferrari on the straight. Still stuck behind Amato. Cannot find a way through the stage of the race, as meanwhile Noble slowly but surely running away from Wonko at the top of the field, and this little battle is slightly slowing down these guys who give Wonko a little bit of a gap. As in the back we see Hugendon is going to look to get around Aid the Ace as well. Aid the Ace speeding positions as well, it seems, or has the potential to do so at the very least. There's too much stuff for me to keep up with here. We see Gene Frest all the way further back down is on the back of Charles F. Honzik for a top 10 as well, but with Tuesday looking at this for the time being. Petitska again. He's going to force the inside move. He's not going to make that stick. Amato say, no sir, you're not going at my inside. Outside or nowhere. And again, Petit has to file in behind. He's still applying the pressure to Amato though, and if this carries on for the next hour and 13 minutes, we'll see something very interesting happen. As Petit's actually got a good run out the first chicane, he's going to be side by side into the second chicane. Forced to the outside by Amato, but that's going to compromise Amato's line coming out of it, but again, unless he really compromises his line, he's not going to be able to make a move into Lesmo 1 from there. Good defensive driving for Amato to keep Petit behind him. Petit is still looking to try and find a way through. As in the background you see Capo is catching up to the back of these guys slowly but surely as these guys fight, and Petit gets a little bit wide in the back as Hugendon still trying to make a move on Aid the Ace, but not quite as close as Petit is to Amato up top at the very least. As it appears Gene Frest has got past Honzik as well, we see in the timer tower on the left. As Petit hits the curb at Ascari and goes into the wall face first, that's going to be a race over for him. Just as I was saying how this could end up well, and some Lazarov might say that's a little bit of karma for him. As well, that is him out of the server. He's left the server completely, he's not sticking around. Anyway, who have we got? Our camera's now on Mr. Lazarov. Who have we got now? We have Hugendon still trying to get around the back of that very large Bentley of Aid the Ace. They're defending well as police catch up to the two of them while they get on a fight. Still in a little bit of shock at the crash we just witnessed there. But anyway, Hugendon, you've got to say the AMG is a stronger car here. Hugendon definitely is not a slow driver by any stretch of the imagination. He's going to be feeling a little bit held up behind Aid the Ace potentially. Bentley not really quite as quick as here as Aid the Ace would like. As again, similar story with Petit and Amato. This AMG is sticking right to the back of the car he's trying to attack. As Capo, we'll keep an eye on that gap from Capo to Amato because that could start shrinking. as the gap from Amato to Wonko could also start shrinking as well. To see how this goes on, and how exactly is the stream lagging for you? I've seen a couple of people say it seems to be fine on mine. I'll just have a quick look. Well, there's no drop frames on my end, so I don't know what's going on your end, but it all looks fine for me. Literally 0 drop frames all stream, so I don't think it's me. Anyway, enough of stream may or may not work. Let's go back to Hugendon. So let's find a way around 8 the ace for P5 overall. Capo slightly closing the gap to Amato, and it's coming down 1.6 now. Please, as well, sorry, but surely in the background, I'm going to want to capitalise on anything that may happen here. For Hugendon meets a similar fate to Petit, is going to be the first one to get on top of it. Let's see what else we have. Gap with Capo is so you can show you what surely. Let's have a look at our midfielders. It appears Goalsaw. Oh, Goalsaw just got past Mali. Never mind. We just missed that overtake. Mali must have messed up somewhere a little bit. And that's Black Goalsaw through up into P13 now. He's going to be closing down Chloe in P12. Let's go back to see what Hugendon is doing. He is still, I say still, he's closing up slowly but surely. He's trying to... Hugendon, I think, has just disconnected, and I think that's... a lot of the server has just disconnected as well. I'm not sure what's happened there. When I looked myself, it was smooth. So this is smooth. The only issue with this is I now can't change what car I'm looking at. We're now stuck with Lazarnov. Although Lazarnov is having to defend from Genefresh a little bit. Well, I'll see how this one transpires. Now we're evidently stuck here for a little bit. It appears to have had a few disconnections from the server as well, which is unfortunate for those involved. But it still seems that our top 7-8 guys are still knocking around. Yeah, it appears I've fixed it, but the only issue with this is that I'm currently alt-tabbed out of ACC, and this means that I now can't switch the drivers that we're looking at without making the stream lag. Anyway, I'll work around it as best as possible. Got to know that's the fix at least. Anyway, as Lazarnov is now about 1.8 seconds back, as we lost our main battle with Hugendon, since it appears he disconnected from the race just earlier, along with a few other people. As Genefresh is closing in on him slowly but surely. 0.8 the gap last time around. And he's closing in. Now 0.4, we're going to have to see a little bit of a battle here between Lazarnov and Genefresh. Lazarnov's car may be damaged from the earlier contact with Axel Petit, as Lazarnov defends from Genefresh. Genefresh, I see, will find a way around sooner rather than later, judging by the state of Lazarnov's car and how hard it was hit by Petit earlier. Gene Fresh still trying to find where Lozanov is defending very well, considering that his car is potentially slightly broken. He's going to have to wait another 10 to 15 minutes or so for the pit window to open. We're a 15-minute pit window spread around the centre point of the race of 45 minutes. So we're going to have to, I imagine Lozanov will dive into the pits as soon as he can and get around that, as Samuel Ratz has got himself down to P20. That's going to be upsetting for him and costing for his championship potentially. 0.3 seconds a gap now. He's going to be feeling the pressure of him now as Capo is caught up to Amato as well, as Amato is also caught up to Wonko. That the battle for the top two could be hotting up sooner rather than later, but for now we'll stick on board with this. Gene Fresh is getting closer and closer to Lozano's car every single lap. This could be the move where he gets it done. Equal machinery here. The only difference here is driver set to potentially damage on Lozanov's car, as mentioned earlier. Lozanov is going to sit in the middle of the track. He's going to afford Gene Fresh the inside line for turn 1. That could be position done, I assume. And there we go. The top speed difference on Lozanov's car, plain to see. That's going to be unfortunate for him. He was on for a very good race earlier. And that's going to be Gene Fresh driving onto the sunset. I'd very much assume over to P7. He's going to be chasing down Police. I'll have to see how that one pans out close to the time. But anyway, in the meantime, we have our top drivers are going to be closing in each other very soon. So let's have a look at that one as we have Salvatore Amato. He's closing up to Wonko now. He's been freed from Axel Petit, and Capo is also freed from Axel Petit. He's going to be closing up to both of these as well. Hopefully we'll see Capo and Amato work together to catch up to P2 and then try and fight once they get there, as opposed to slowing each other down again. Amato's definitely keen to do that because he's seen firsthand how hard that can get. Capo's closing in on Amato quicker than Amato's closing in on Wonko at the race. Wonko's done very well to keep that P2. He's done very good showing himself in the West. He could easily get himself a podium here if he gets his head down and puts some good laps in. Capo's on a little bit of a mission so far this race. He's been all over the back of whoever he's been around. As further down, Goldsource caught to the back of Chloe. We'll have a quick look and see how that one is going. Goldsource is reeled this gap in pretty quickly, and if he wants to get around Chloe as quickly as possible, Chloe's going to force him to take the outside into the second chicane, which is not going to be what he wants. He cuts a little bit of grass, forcing Chloe to take all the way to the inside, and he's has to go the long way around into the second chicane, and he does it. And great manoeuvre from Black Hole Saw. He's going to be now chasing down Ulti, who's a couple of seconds up the road. We'll have to cut back on his progress a little bit further on. He gets a little bit wide actually, and Chloe could have a look back down the second turn as Black Hole Saw gets very wide out of Lesmo 2, and that's going to afford Chloe to get the position back. He got the move done, then he made a mistake, and now it's gone again, but he's going to cut back into the slipstream of Chloe, and it isn't going to be enough fit in front of Ascari. As the background, Marley's going to look to take advantage of this as well. Marley's already made a mistake which allowed Goldsaw to get through, but now these guys are battling. He's caught up to the back of this two, which could get very interesting very quickly. Chloe sticking right to the inside and not allowing Goldsaw any room to go down the inside. Goldsaw's going to the outside. Chloe's going to defend the inside as good as possible. That's going to It's going to be a drag race again. I suspect the Porsche will win this one, but Marley's now right in the back of these guys as well, as they dodge a slow car on the right hand side of the track. I'm not quite sure what he's doing there, but I believe that is Ulti actually. An Audi of Ulti, I think, has pulled over. It looked like an Audi, and there's another Audi on the track, so yep, that was. As Black Gold Saw's got around Chloe at turn 1, now Marley's going to be looking to join on the fun. How quickly can Marley find a way around and possibly chase Gold Saw back through the pack? Let's find out. Yeah, I think that was Ulti pulled off to the side. I'm not sure what happened to him, potentially some technical issues. That's going to be Ulti potentially retired from the race. Poor second chicane from Chloe's going to allow Marley a chance into the first Lesmo. He's going to take it. Chloe's going to have to leave room. Side by side to the first Lesmo. Chloe still side by side as we've finally moved back to 1Co for the time being. Let's go back to where we were. As Marley's got through, as an impromptu camera change from the game has meant that we've missed that, but here we are. Sometimes things happen. I think this hasn't been the best race in terms of circuit activity for anyone. We're going to have to look into hopefully fixing that. And that's going to be Marley through, and Marley's going to want to chase down the back of Black Gold Saw, or at least try and hang on to the back of him. Let's see how much we can close up in this final turn. And potentially, if you're going to make a move now, it's going to have to be. You're going to make a move, it's going to have to be now, because otherwise, I think Marley's going to have to run away from you a little bit. Looks to the inside, but that's not a move that's going to be made. Although has gained a lot of time in the slipstream, so he's got that at least. I think at the minute Marley just has the competitive edge over Chloe pace-wise, and he's going to be dropping further down. I don't think it's Alexa's Trackers, nor but Morvi, as someone who's very high at the championship standings, isn't doing particularly well at this circuit. I'm just going to monitor the gaps that we have. I think Gene Frest is very much closing on Police, so let's go and have a look at Mr. Gene Frest while waiting and see. This battle will slowly but surely end up coming to fruition, as Asano's doing a great job of hanging on to the back of these guys despite some potential damage of his car. Half a second Gene Frest took out of Police the last split, so Police pretty much almost move. Oh, trying to get my words out. Police are going to be falling into the clutches of Gene Frest sooner rather than later, I would assume. So stick on board with this and watch this gap close and watch these guys have a fight for P6 overall. As in the meantime, Amato is still closing up to the back of 1Co. That also could develop into something quite nice. .2 last time around, another 3/10 taken out of Police at the last split. And that was in Sector 1 as well, where the AMG is strong. Sector 2 is where the Ferrari makes up a lot of its time, I think. Where it can take these turns. It's got a much better mid-corner speed than the AMG has, especially with a low wing that I imagine a lot of these guys will be running. It's Monza who sacrificed cornering potential for some straight line speed. And everyone loves a bit of straight line speed. 1.4, lost a couple of tenths last time around, so not closing as quickly as I first imagined. The gap's staying pretty steady around the field as I think Chloe's caught up to Marley a little bit, but a little bit of will from Gene Frest that cost him a little bit of time in the hunt down of Police. Let's have a look back at Chloe and Marley and see how that's panning out. As Chloe's going to be looking to put pressure on Marley into Ascari. it appears that between these two, whoever's behind has a slipstream is one who has the competitive edge here. Whoever can hang on the slipstream, it seems, is the one who's making up the lap time. I imagine different cars will start coming to different sort of performance windows as well as the race goes on and the track cools down. Different cars might start to get better. And as we have our pit window going to be opening very shortly, we'll see who dives in and who stays out. That should be interesting to see. As closing a look to the inside in turn 1, that's not too far back, although is it? Made Marley brake not as well as he would have wanted to, and I think that's gonna allow Chloe to close up a good few tenths at the very least in her hunt to try and chase down Marley and regain that P11 spot she lost earlier. I believe Ulti may have had some technical issues. He pulled off to the side of the track at one point and caused a bit of a fright for these guys actually. Gulf saw Marley and Chloe were fighting over P10. They were all next to each other in the straight, and then suddenly Ulti's car came out of nowhere, parked to the side. I can only assume that's technical issues, or I don't know, maybe it got too hot for him down in South Africa. Who knows? Marley looking very unsure of himself, thinking that Chloe can potentially attack from further back than you would imagine. I'm not quite sure how he thinks Chloe's going to dive on from that far back, but that's very easy to say from me up in here. I don't see what he sees down there, so what do I know? An hour left to go in the race. We've quite a few dropouts already. A lot of drivers still going along though, after some incidents earlier, and I think a few potential disconnects as well. Have to wait and see what happened with that further down the line. As let's actually go and have a look at Robert Pagodl and Norbert Morvai, as they appear to be having a nice little fight with each other. Pagodl's going to look to the inside in his Bentley on the Lexus of Morvai. He's going to think better of it, it's too far back that time around. These guys are over P14, they're still extremely close together. This tier is extremely close and it's great to watch. I get the impression that the Bentley and the Lexus are both quite poor cars here in terms of being good at the two things you need to be good at to drive quickly around Monza, being acceleration and top end with the odd braking. As pit windows open, I expect we'll be seeing cars diving in sooner rather than later. Varela is the first in, he has gone straight into the pit lane, possibly wanting to repair some damage and move his way up the field. Very short pit lane here, but you do lose a lot of time with the fact that you're going so much slower than the cars around you. As Pagodl is closing in on Morvai now, the gap's now 3/10. Closes slowly but surely. Further up the field, we have Jean Frest and Police, as Jean Frest has pitted to try and get around Police in the pit stop phase, I believe. And Lozanov, no surprise, pitting as well to fix all that damage that he had earlier. That's been quite visibly slowing his car down quite a lot since that lap 1 contact with Axel Petit. As both these cars follow each other to the pits, let's follow this one through and see if we can see what strategy these guys are running on who gets the best pit stop as Morvai pulls into his box and Pagodl gets into his. We'll have to wait and see who takes what. I'm interested to see just how this one plays out. Varela has completed his stop, and Varela will be, that's Jean Frest exiting the pit lane in his Ferrari. with Samuel Ratz following suit as well. Ratz also potentially repairing some damage as soon as he possibly can. As further ahead we see Corentin Berges leaving the pit lane as well. As Lozano's car drops Rich Jackson gone, and Pagodl will be joining him. And he has come out what looks like a decent way ahead of Morvai, so potential difference in strategy there between those guys. Pagodl jumped Morvai in the pit lane. As we've seen, Morvai is nowhere to be seen. That's Cryptic coming out of the pits behind him. So potential no tyres for Pagodl and potential tyres for Morvai. I'll have to wait and see exactly how that all pans out. I'll have to see just how much ground Morvai can gain with what I suspect is a new set of tyres for him. And moving further up the grid to some cars that have not yet pitted. So I'm desperately trying to find Chloe and Marley as the guys I'm looking for. 1.2 seconds is now the gap. Chloe's lost a little bit of pace over the little bit, although further up the grid, forgive me, we have got Capo has finally got onto the back of Amato as I predicted earlier. And we'll be looking to try and get around him as soon as possible, as Cryptic ahead is a lapped car. That Bentley will be wanting to get out of the way as best as possible. And he does. Very aware from Cryptic to get out of the way. These two guys are fighting over the podium position. Capo's dropped it to about half a second now. Equal machinery for these guys, so we'll have to wait and see. This will be decided on strategy in the pit lane, or it'll have to be fought out on track later on. And then only got 11 minutes left of the pit window. A slightly extended pit window for this extended race. Our second to last endurance race of the season. Next week we're back to 1 hour. Gap now 0.6 of a second. It's closing in slowly but surely. We're getting the slipstream. You can see the negative rake on that Ferrari in action as he gets in the slipstream. You can see the front of the car wanting to almost lift off with that strange front splitter design. Over the past, this is what Capo's been working towards these past few laps. He is now extremely close to Amato. He's going to make a move as soon as possible, but unlike in the AMG, like Patina AMG, you don't have a advantage over Amato that you can exploit in terms of your straight line speed. You have to get this done under the braking and in the corners and by, well, long story short, being a quicker driver. As Capo's going to look to the inside for a Sky, but he's too far back. He's just essentially trying to scare Amato or just simply spot his braking point. You never quite know. A little bit of a squirm off the second curve of Sky for Capo, so it cost him a little bit as Cryptic is a lap down, but still chilling behind these guys. He's not properly leapt down. He still owes these guys a pit stop, as you can see from our little timing tower on the left. Cryptic has served his pit stop while these guys have not. As Capo is right the way under Amato's rear wing. This could be the move he wants. Amato's not defending too heavily. Capo's going to look to the inside. Who's better on the brakes? Looks like it's Amato this time around. Capo's going to find him behind and wait for his turn. 8 minutes to pit, and both these guys are still out. You think Capo might want to, especially with so few cars on track, he might want to risk it and jump into the pits and try and jump in the pit lane, but he clearly feels he can do this on track, and all the power to him. as a little bit of a late braking from Capo is going to send him straight on, and that's going to lose him a good few tenths, and Cryptic's going to want to unlap himself, but he's going to think better of it. And now Capo's going to have to get all that hard work and get it all back. Although, is that 1co ahead? It is. These guys have been catching up to 1co this entire time, and I did not realise until now. Not sure if 1co made a mistake, or whether it's just, or whether these guys have just been lapping that much quicker than him over this time. If you would like to compete in the 1 hour, head to the link that Nightbot keeps spamming in chat and sign up on the forums. We'll find you a tier 2 race, and it may not be tier 1, depending on how quick you are, but we'll find you somewhere.
We are halfway through, keep it up.
Well, there we go, a nice radio balance at halfway into the race. And we've still got these guys looking ever closer to each other. As Amato's close, as that's going to be Capo jumping into the pit lane. He possibly could have used that a lap or two earlier. But there's Police, the Ace, Cryptic, and we have Amato, who's now closing in on 1co for P2 of the race. It's been a great comeback race for Amato, it has to be said. Yeah, that's a shame, Hugendorn. It's upset me because you had a quite good battle there. I was enjoying it. The start of this race has been great, and well, we've still got some good battles going on as these guys are caught up to Ulti, who has got a bit of a blue flag as 1co gets a little bit sideways off Lesmo 2. That's going to lead Amato some chance to potentially find a way around him. Maybe not this turn, but he's definitely going to be able to set something up into Parabolica, you'd assume. Taking as much of that first curb as you can. This is the difference between T1 drivers and everyone else. Straight lining that as much as you can. You got to take what you can get in the Ferrari. As being carried under that rear wing of the big AMG is going to give you a lot of top speed that you wouldn't normally have, especially in a slippery old Ferrari like that. As I think 1co might be pulling into the pit lane. Yeah, it does. 1co pulls off into the pits, that's going to release Amato into effective P2 of the race. But owing a pit stop, of course. As Police and the Ace follow those two in as well. That's really interesting to see who comes out in front out of those guys. But let's the three-way that we were having a look at earlier, as all of these two guys were in the pit lane at the same time as well. Black Gold, Storm, Marley and Chloe, they've all caught up to each other wonderfully. Pretty much everyone is going into the pit lane at the same time. We'll have to stick around with this pit lane thing and see who can get out ahead of who's got a different strategy. As I think mine's got a little bit too far in his box there. Yeah, he's had to back it up. That's going to cost him a lot of time. As I think Chloe is pulled away. That's there's no see if they're changing tyres here. I don't think. I'm not sure if the spectator camera allows us to see the cars being jacked up. Let's wait and see who of these guys gets out in front. 1co, the Ace and Police have all left at pretty much the same time, so I assume similar strategies for them all round. As Black Gold Stork certainly puts it in reverse and is going to stay out ahead of Marley because of Marley's error entering his box. And there we see Chloe ahead as well, so all these guys in the same strategy. I'm not sure whether that's tyres or no tyres, we'll have to wait and see. As that's going to bring Goldsort out behind Pagodl, potentially. I'm not sure if Pagodl is a lap down or not. As Ulti comes up behind as well, but I am fairly sure Ulti's a lap down yet. Pagoda Light is also a lap down. And there's a good demonstration of how practicing your pit entry, not just your pit entry, but your pulling into your pit stall effectively can save you a lot of time. Mali overshot his box and had to reverse, so his mechanics would grab him. That's cost him all that time he made up earlier. As Mike Noble now peels off into the pits, and that's going to be only Amato, who has not yet pitted. I see no reason for him to stay out any longer. I see Amato will be pitting as soon as he can. Now that everyone else has pitted, so he knows he's going to filter out into the correct sort of traffic. As let's have a look further up the grid, as we've got a bit of a three-way going on here between that's Gene Frest and that's Samuel Ratz. So Samuel Ratz is a lap down, I believe, or a couple of laps down. But Gene Frest and Aid the Ace are, or at least were until Ratz got in the way, having a good old scrap for P5. Have to wait and see how quickly Ratz lets Gene Frest get through. Gene Frest is going to be very upset if Ratz holds him up for much longer, or at least doesn't return the favour and hold Aid the Ace up for him. See, Ratz is on a mission to unlap himself at the very least. He doesn't want to stay in P19 for too long, although he's got a bit of a job catching up to anyone else meaningful. Although top 20 score points, this is all still valuable points for him in the event of drop weeks and such, as Gene Frest getting very sketchy through the second chicane. That's going to cost him some time that he doesn't want, as Police is now looking at the back of him. Although this shows the difference in pace between Gene Frest and Police, because Gene Frest was behind Police coming into the pit phase, and by virtue of setting some quick laps, Gene Frest has now got himself ahead of Police in the pit stop phase, starting to overtake him on track, so props to Gene Frest for that one. As he takes a very creative line through Sky will describe that as that's going to afford Police a little bit of time to potentially force a move into Parabolica. Police are going to try and make it work on the outside. Gene Frest is going to defend. He's going to defend well. He's going to hold the inside line, force Police to potentially take a late apex and he would perhaps like. But Gene Frest keeps the position. Great defensive driving from him. But that superior straight line speed AMG is going to cause him a lot of issues going to turn 1. Gene Frest is going to defend into turn 1, take the defensive line, force Police to go on the outside, and unless something magical happens on the brakes, Police will keep this position, I would assume. Police cuts across, forces Police to the edge of the track, denies him the turn in when he might want to, and everyone exits that turn 1 in one piece. Gene Frest continues on, still defending his position, and pit window is closed. Everyone has pitted, and Amato has not got out ahead of. Capo has got out ahead of Amato. Sorry, a change in position up for P3. Let's have a look at that. As Amato's going to try and. This is the fight for P2. Police's teammate Wonko is the foreground there in P2, and here we have Amato and Capo trying to fight for 2 of the 3 podium positions that are still available. Mike Noble's off into the distance, 25 seconds ahead of Wonko. A mistake from Capo, so she's going to afford Amato a little run through into Parabolica. Let's see how this one turns out. As we've seen the timing tower, Police may have made a little bit of a mistake, has now dropped 1.5 seconds to Gene Frest in the last 30 seconds or so. Not very good for him. But he's going to try and make it up as soon as he can. Gene Frest has also shown that he can also make some mistakes, so let's see how that one pans out as well. 36 minutes left in the race. Time flies having fun, doesn't it? As Amato is deep in the section of Capo, is going to be looking to try and. He's not very close enough to make a move into turn 1. He's going to look for it. He's very brave on the brakes. Can he make the corner? He does. What a fantastic move on the brakes from Amato. He gets him into P2. And Capo's got all the work to do all over again. But all in all this time, Monco is using this time to run away and cement his P2 as he's gained 1.5 seconds with these guys fighting each other. But Capo's not seen the last of it. He wants past, and he wants past now. Nothing that can be done to the second chicane unless you're very brave. Further down the grid as well, we see Black Gold Solar is battling Rob Gold for P11 as well, but we're going to stick with this one for now since this is... I can see this one fighting for the rest of the race. Both cars got a good exit out of Lesmo 2. Ferrari's strangely strong here, I must admit. I was expecting it to be nowhere with its poor straight line speed, since that's how the SRO bopped it. A little bit of a gap starting to eke out slightly between Amato and Capo, but if that is true and these guys are going to be closing in on Wonko, that will let Capo get back into the fray should he drop off Amato a little bit. Because I get the feeling Amato will be catching Wonko sooner rather than later. Well, I say sooner rather than later, it's going to be a slow process to get there, but we do have 34 minutes, there's plenty of time left in the race. As now Capo's got a slipstream, he's going to try and force a move to the inside. Amato says no sir, forces Capo to the outside, and he cannot beat him on the brakes. But a poor entrance from Amato catches Capo off guard, and that's going to... Capo could have had a great exit, got the position back, but the poor turn from Amato has caught him off guard a little bit and cost him that chance to get around him. But you get the feeling that next time around this is going to be... Capo's going to have another shot at it next time around. But all this time, 2.6 seconds now is the gap from Amato to Wonko. Wonko's sitting in his seat laughing at these guys, saying, oh well, you guys are fighting each other, I'm just going to run away with this P2. You guys keep scrapping over there and I'll take this time to run away. You get the feeling if these guys work together they could catch up Wonko relatively quickly and fight for a P2 instead of a P3, but it's in the heat of the moment and, well, you gotta take what you can get. 33 minutes left in the race. About 15, 16 laps maybe. Possibly 17. I'm pretending I can do maths here, that's not going to work out well for me, let's be completely honest. Capo lost a little bit of time through Ascari, and that's going to cost him the chance at a move into turn 1, you'd assume. Unless Amato makes a mistake into Parabolica, which it appears he does not. As you can see, just in that sector where these guys have had some clean air, not been fighting each other, he's dropped the gap by a couple of tenths and drops them by half a second when these guys aren't fighting each other. Amato is definitely the quickest car out of these three at the minute, although they are coming up to, I believe that is Varela. In the Aston yet. Or potentially Lusty. I haven't seen Lusty's paint job on the... it's the 762, isn't it? It's the AOR Motorsport car, what am I on about? Yeah, so these guys catch up to Isaias Varela, who is a lapped car. As Capo outbrakes himself into the second chicane, and that's going to cost him a lot of time compared to Amato. But, as I said earlier, when Amato starts closing in on Wonko, that's going to bring them both back into Capo's clutches, and Capo's definitely got the pace to catch them up after they've done that. We will watch that develop. In the meantime, I'm going to attempt to find Ulti trying to find a way around Robert Pagodl, as he essentially pushes Robert Pagodl out of the second chicane, and that's going to be Ulti past, I believe, possibly a little bit of damage to the front of his Audi after that potential contact. I'm not sure if there was contact or not, but that's going to be ulti through and is going to be chasing down Black Gold Saw, who's another 3 seconds up the road. As now let's move our attention back towards this battle as the game moves for cars for me. Very nice of it. As it appears, Amato is closing in on Wonko, and is this game worth it, or is it better to invest more into iRacing? My personal opinion, I would say iRacing if you have the money. If you don't have the money, since it's undeniably very expensive, then this is also a very, very good game. Also depends on your PC specs as well. If you need a stronger PC to run this game than you do iRacing. But anyway, that's just my opinion on the matter. I think the variety and quality of multiplayer that you get in iRacing is worth it. But anyway, that's just my personal opinion at the very least. Everyone else has their own, and you ask a different person, you'll get a different answer. That's the way the world goes with sim racing nowadays. But I mean, you can have equally as fun racing here if you join a league. Someone else has just said that in chat now. Yeah, leagues are very fun. Noticeably this league, and Redline Motorsport do a nice league as well. And if you're T1 material, you can get to be on stream like this. You can be the man chasing down Wonko for P2. Or whether else it'll be for P2. Anyway, 7/10 is now the gap, and these guys are going to start fighting each other. And Wonko is going to have a big job to keep Amato behind him for the next half an hour. That's a very, very tall order indeed. Amato's been looking very, very pacey. And he's going to waste no time at all in getting around Wonko for the P2 spot. I don't think anybody's going to be catching up Mike Noble. You got 29 seconds to make up in 28 minutes. That is 2 seconds a lap faster, and you're not being 2 seconds a lap faster than Noble. My voice went a little bit there, but my apologies. Anyway, fight for P2. It's happening now. Amato has got around Capo and is closing up. The question is, can Capo catch up to these guys? How long will this fight last? And can Capo use it to catch up to them and possibly try and get P2 for himself? As Amato going to try and go the outside into Ascari. I didn't quite believe what I was seeing there. Fantastic move by Amato to get around Wonko outside of the first part of Ascari and make it stick as well. He made that AMG bounce off the curb in a way it doesn't like to, and you saw what happened last time Axel Petit tried that. He went face first into a wall. Chap does risk a fair point. Mike Noble is catchable if I give him a 30-second time penalty. It might make it a close race actually. But no, we're not giving Mike Noble time penalties for being in the lead. That would be rude and unfair. Anyway. Can Wonko keep on the back of Amato is the next question we have to ask. And if he can't, can he hold on to his podium from Capo, who is going to be wanting it very, very much. Salvatore Martin's going to be very happy with himself, his home track in a Ferrari. Defeated by Mike Noble in glorious Nippon Steel, but, I mean, that's hardly a new thing. .9 seconds is now the gap. We'll have to wait and see what this turns out to be at the next split. 0.9 seconds again, but Capo is closing slowly but surely. So Cryptic has found himself in the pit lane, potentially made a bit of an accident. Oh, Pagoda's found himself in the pit lane as well. Cryptic and Pagoda were fighting each other. I assume that has ended in tears somewhere, and that's going to be two very upset drivers, I would assume. What else have we got further down? Let's have a look at Wonko. He's 1.4 off the pace, but not off the pace, off the back of Amato. He's definitely 1.4 off the pace, otherwise he won't be this far up the grid. But closing in on him is Capo behind. And the only thing that ended the battle between Wonko and Amato is a very audacious move into a sky. We'll have to wait and see if Capo can do something equally as bravo. We'll keep an eye on that gap, but in the meantime we have Christian Lazarov, after his incident on the second lap earlier on, has repaired his damage and he's on an absolute mission. He's now trying to fight his way around Jardier. As I think that the cold temperatures might be suiting the Ferraris. He's going to look at the Zalesmo too. No, it's not. He's going to back out of that one. That would have been a very audacious move indeed. But he's tucked right under the rear wing of him, coming to Ascari. Could we see a replica of that, of the move that we saw earlier? I'd very much like to see so. As we have... Oh, that's Amato. Amato's hit the wall while I wasn't looking. He does so well to get into P2, now he's throwing it all away. He's now dropped back into P8, essentially. He must have lost it in the Ascari. I can't go back and see that, unfortunately, but that's very unfortunate indeed. He did so well to get that far, and now he's thrown it all away. I generally feel quite bad for Salvatore there. That's heartbreaking. Anyway, Lazarov is going to try and find a way around Jardier into turn 1. Who's going to be best on the brakes? It's going to be Jardier, but Lazaro's the inside line, so you have to respect, give him some room at the second part. It's going to be a drag race off the line so you can make it to not turn 2, the second chicane 2 first. Lazarov has the shortest path on Curva Grande. That's going to fall on the outside into the chicane, so it's not going to be as good as he wants. Jardier still alongside. Lazarov's going to have to respect this and give him some room. Side by side into the second chicane. Lazarov has just about got it done. A little bit of contact. Jardier is in the dirt. And that's going to be Lazarov through. You may want to argue the legitimacy of that, but the facts are the facts. He's got through. And the gap from Capo to Wonko is still 1.6 seconds. That fight for P2 is still on. Sadly without Amato. I was so excited for him to score some points today as well. As Jardier still appears around to the back of Lazarov, not really letting him go anytime soon, but I think he doesn't have much choice in the matter. Lazarov is going to run away with his newly repaired Ferrari. And you've got to think that unless Jardier can mount something here, it's going to be game over for keeping that P6 spot. Capo appears to be dropping back from 1Co as well. That'll, not sure they've made a mistake or what's going on, but in the meantime we are going to turn our attention towards Black Gold Saw, who is currently 1.3 seconds off the back of Chloe, but I think that gap will be coming down rather than up. Black Gold Saw's been very quick in the Bentley, now it's got the Porsche, you've got to assume he's going to be even quicker. So 1.1 is getting a couple of tenths that time round. I think we're going to be seeing another battle unfold here in the last 20 minutes of the race. The gap is still 1.1 last time around. What's it going to be now? 0.6. He's closing in extremely quickly onto Chloe. We could see another overtake for this is for P9 overall. Fantastic, ain't it? Porsche's rapid entry Parabolica, it must be said. You can visibly see how much she closed up on Chloe coming to the entry Parabolica. I tried to get too many words out in one breath. That's not good for the old lungs. There's now 0.5 is closing in slowly but surely. You see the front of the car squat on the brakes, and you can see the visible difference in front ride height from when he gets on the brakes. He's brakes himself a little bit. Might have the sausage curb, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. He's going to have to make that all back up again. $18 minutes left. Not many laps to go. It's going to be, you have to get this done sooner rather than later, I believe. As the balance of the cars could end up being not what these guys want, as the temperature, you can see the temperature's getting cooler. It's no longer midday, it's now deep into the evening. That time that Gold Saw's lost, he's brought it all back up in the middle sector, and he must have got a fantastic exit out of Lesmo too, because he has closed an insane amount on the back of Chloe just down that one straight. Porsche extremely good, but he's changed his direction. He's right back on the tail of Chloe again. This could spell disaster for Chloe. Which way will she go? He knows that Gold Saw's too far back, and he's just going to try and keep the best line into Parabolica. You can visibly see how much better that Porsche is through Parabolica than that Lexus of Chloe. It's only a matter of time, really, you've got to think. I love watching the front end of that Porsche rise up while it's puts some speed on the straight, and then you'll see it drop by a good few centimetres now when he gets on the brakes. As Chloe's outbraked herself and has gone wide, had to take the escape road. And and that's going to be position to Gold Saw. Not how I want that to happen. I want a nice little fight there, but that's Gold Saw up into P8 now. As Wanco's found some pace in the last 15 minutes of the race, has managed to drop Capo. I'll have to wait and see if Chloe can hold the back of onto the back of Black Gold Saw, whether he's just going to dribble off into the sunset. Ooh, run a little bit wide from Gold Saw. That's going to cost him a few tenths down this straight with Chloe in the slipstream. That could bring that gap all the way back down to 0 again. Let's actually move our point of view over towards Chloe. Black Gold Saw moving to the inside to try and break the slipstream, and also assert his defensive line and moves back over to the outside for the braking zone. Chloe's not laying down and taking this. He's up for a fight here. Definitely within slipstream range, so it's not done yet. A look to the inside, but knows he's way too far back. You have to wait till next time round, I'm afraid. Much better first chicane this time around. It was hard to go much worse last time around, but here we are. Half a second last time around. We're going to keep an eye on the gaps up at the top as well and see where we have drivers. As Morvi has gone into the pit lane, I assume that's end of race for him. Again, it appears that between these guys, it's whoever's behind in the slipstream appears to have the pace advantage. Whoever's in the slipstream has got just enough extra time on the straights to make up for potentially being a little bit slow through the corners in dirty air and whatnot. The gap between Capital 1Co is slowly extending as well, and 1Co's determined to keep that P2 at any cost. As we're still going to watch these guys try and fight out over P9 at the minute. We're just watching a little bit of a hot lap battle to try and close up the gap and make something happen. It's 8/10 this time around. It's slowly but surely falling back. You have to start trying to pick up the pace if you want to. Oh, that's a great first turn from Chloe. It must be said, and it's closed up a lot of time onto the back of Gold Saw. You can visibly see how much time we gained. What's the official gap going to be by the time we get there? It's just coming out of here. 0.7, so gained a tenth or two. Porsche is very good on the exit with the engine over the rear axle, so you can see the time that Chloe has gained in the mid-corner and whatnot, but as soon as it comes to putting the power down, that Porsche just leaves. It's gone. Gene Fresh a couple of seconds off the back of ADA, so that one could potentially start coming down. We'll have to wait and see. I'd very much like that battle to come along for P4. That would be a great one to watch. ADA has had some great battles in the past on these streams. Chloe's close to even more times Black Gold Saw this time, as we're well in the slipstream, gaining time all the way down this straight. Well, how I promised you last week that this would either be an absolutely amazing race full of carnage or a snooze fest, and it appears we've had both. And there'll be no in between. I didn't let you down with that promise. As Chloe gets very close, not close enough to make a move, she has to try and focus on the poor exit from Gold Saw, the first chicane. That's going to cost a lot of time. I know Chloe's going to be looking to capitalise on that one sooner rather than later. Black Gold Saw is a little bit scared and wants to take the defensive line, or at least block the offensive line from Chloe. A little bit of a poor second chicane from Chloe, and you see you lost almost a second there, it looks like, anyway. I'll have to wait and see what the gap turns out to be next time they come across the split, which is just before Ascari, I believe. As the gaps up top are staying pretty constant. Capo is dropping off the back of Wonko, as Wonko has clearly found some pace in this colder weather. 10 minutes to go, that's all we have left. 5 or 6 more laps, maybe 7 depending on when the leader crosses the line. And that is the only chance you're going to get. Now 8/10, so lost at least half a second out of that second chicane. But he's still doing just enough to stick in the slipstream, and that's all that really matters. If you can't break the slipstream of the guy behind you, then you're not going to get away from him, and that's how it goes at Monza. You need to escape. You need to escape quickly, or else you've lost a 10th there already, just in the slipstream. And right the way back, it's under brakes, Chloe, so much better. Obviously, outbraked herself a little bit. And that's again going to cost half a tenth, not half a tenth, half a second out of that turn. Potentially losing some tyre grip, and it's catching them out in the dirty air behind the car in front. I've just noticed that Lazarnov has disappeared. I'm not quite sure where Lazarnov went, but he did overtake Jaroslav Honzik a while ago, and now he is no longer there, which is curious. I'm not sure whether he crashed or disconnected or what happened, but that's unfortunate for him. After a great race out last time, he's now had a disconnect. Although I assume the same can be said for a lot of drivers, so pick your poison, I guess. As Chloe's lost a lot of time this lap to the back of Black Hole, so I was going nowhere near close enough for the slipstream, I don't think. 1.5 seconds. I think you're now officially out of slipstream range, sir. You're going to have to set some organically quick, is that how I want to say that? Yes, sure, why not? I've set some good laps without slipstream to catch up to the back of Black Hole Saw now. 1.4 is the gap at the line. Have to wait and see just how that transpires. You have to rely on a mistake now, I believe, at this point. We'll wait and see what our gap is after the first chicane. 7 minutes left. It's starting to get closer and closer to now or never territory. 1.7 again. You're losing time. You're out of the slipstream. That's it. Go it for you. Although some smoke ahead, that possibly mean Black Hole Saw's made a mistake. It doesn't appear to have cost him much time, however. So we'll see how that one transpires. Again, a little bit of dirt for both drivers, all trying to maximise as much of the track as they can to catch the one up, or in the case of Black Hole Saw, to get away. 1.4, gained 3/10. I'm not sure whether that was a mistake at the second chicane that we may have saw with. Ooh, some gravel at the end of Ascari as well. That's going to cost some time. He's getting a little bit nervous, and Chloe's going to be closing up slowly but surely. 6 minutes left, but you're running out of time to get that move done, I'm afraid. Gene Fresh is now 2 seconds away the ace as well, so that... Again, I keep saying it could close up, it never seems to work out that way. .4 this time round. Good. Seems to be very good on the brakes. As you see, time is gained in the braking zone to turn 1 if Chloe doesn't outrun herself. was at 1.4 last time around at the start finish line. What's it going to be this time? You don't think it's going to be a little bit slower at 1.5. The gap's ebbing and flowing a little bit. You just can't get within that sort of 1 second range where you're going to start picking up a decent amount of slipstream to stick with the guy ahead. Although the gap between Genefrest and this is now 1.8. Let's go and have a look at what Genefrest is doing. .148.8 last time around for Genefrest, and let's quickly check what his last was. 148.8 as well. These guys are matching each other's lap times as it stands. .49.1 that time around for Genefrest. Has lost a few tenths. Five minutes left. You've not got long to get this one done. We're going to be next few laps. We're going to be ACC on console. I wouldn't hold your breath for it to come in anytime soon. Some would argue it's still not fully released on PC yet. And a lot of the functionality of the game, I say functionality, but a lot of the liveries and the server stuff and all that stuff is lots of editing JSON files, which Xbox is not able to do and whatnot. And yeah, even if it does end up coming to Xbox, you're going to have a much better experience on PC anyway, because I can tell you for free that this game will struggle to run on an Xbox or a PS4 for that matter. It struggles to run on some people's PC hardware, let alone Xbox hardware, so PC is the place to go if you want ACC, and PC is the place to go if you want to play any sim racing title for that matter. And then you can come and join us here. You can steal this P5 off Genefrest, who's just dropped that time down to 1.4 seconds. That must have some mistakes made the ace that we didn't see on stream. As Genefrest slowly but surely 1.5 that time around, losing a little bit of time as Chloe has dropped to past 2 seconds now. Although Police has caught the back of Jardier. Jardier must have made a mistake at some stage, or possibly because he needs some damage. Because Police is going to go look down the inside into turn 1. Is he going to make it stick? He's gone way past that. There's possibly some damage on Jardier's car. That's the most likely explanation that I can think of as to why Jardier would suddenly bleed 4 seconds and then get past. That's very upsetting for Jardier indeed. As you see, Corentin Bergès is a laps car in the background as well. As you can see, Jardier is struggling a lot in that McLaren. I'm not sure what's happened to it, but it does look very, very squirmy indeed. Although we're still in P7, all things considered. Not a bad showing at all, even after hemorrhaging positions in the second half of the race. And he's now appears to be bleeding time hand over fist to police. Definitely something wrong with Jardier's car, I'd imagine. Blackwell saw her 12 seconds behind. There isn't much of a threat of losing that position unless you're extremely slow or make another mistake. What's induced by the damage you've received? 1 minute 20 left, and Jardier's pulled to the pit lane. He's going to lose his position to Blackwell Saw now. I was correct about the damage. I wonder what happened to him. Let's jump back to Forest and see how close he can get to the ace for the end of this race. As it appears that we don't have any other... This is going to be our best shot at some overtakes, I think. ...40 seconds left of the race. It depends when Mike Noble crosses the finish line. Speaking of Mike Noble,
Right, man, leader is on
where is he? He's just crossed the finish line. So it's now an error for Forest. He got the feeling that he's not going to be able to pull this one off, I don't think. As Honzik falls down the leaderboard to pit on the last lap, his car must have been extremely damaged from to pit on the last lap, essentially. He may drop down below Amato. It's entirely possible that that's what happens to him, depending on how much damage he's got. Although I think Amato is a few laps down, so... And, well... Let's, I haven't seen much from him since the start of the race, but... If I can find... There we go. Mr. Noble, he's lapped everyone up to 10th, there's ulti behind him, a lap down. After a mistake from Wonko, which let him through into the lead of the race, he has done nothing but run away. At the start of this, we haven't seen much of him, he's just been out on his own, but he's still setting 47s, even at this stage of the race. He's doing his best laps pretty much. Utterly dominant performance from Mike Noble. He's going to be extending his lead at the top of the table by a considerable margin away from his rivals in the form of Lazarov, Prenter, Raps and Hosseini, who all failed to score good points, if any. And he's going to be very happy with that one, and finishes the race in style, and that's the most upset his Nissan has been all the time, with Ulti coming home P10 behind him a lap down. There's Jade finishing P11 behind him, with Robert Pagol in P17 crossing the line. Lusty next in P18 to cross. Dominic Girls in P12 is the next man across. Salvatore Amato, a fantastic effort for him to get up to P2, and an unfortunate incident which cost him the lead, cost him P2. Giving P2 back to Wonko, who finishes in P2 overall. Followed closely by Capo. He put up a great fight towards the last stage of the race. Tailed off a bit at the end, but still a great result from him. A long time coming, you've got to say. Samuel Ratz in P14 coming home. P4 8 the ace, his best result all season. Great route for him, especially in the Bentley where it struggles here a lot. Then next we have Police, gifted some positions in the last lap from Joseph Honzik's crash, but nonetheless has shown some good pace here and has made up positions. He stayed out of trouble where others didn't. Quentin Bergers in P16 next across the line. Blackgold saw in P7 coming across the line to good result despite a poor race by his standards, it must be said. Followed closely by Chloe, couldn't quite get the overtake done. Next up is Marley, his best finish of the season, and he's going to be very happy with that one, I think. He shows some good pace here. Unfortunately, maybe not to finish a little bit higher up, but it is what it is. And he's going to be our last driver on track to cross the line. And that is going to be it. That's going to be all she wrote for this one. Buying Crispy Pig's ear for that one. I'm sure he'll appreciate that a lot. Right, well, they're your final standings. I didn't read them out in order. I read them out as they crossed the line. But in order of finishing, we have Mike Noble winning your race by an utterly dominant margin. 37 seconds ahead of P2 with Wonko, his best result all season. Great race from him. Again, Capo and Aid the Ace and Genefrest and Pillese all with their best result of the season so far. Goldsaw, another potential best result. I'm not quite sure from him. I'm pretty sure he did better at Spa and whatnot. But still, P7 is still very good, followed by Chloe, Marley, Ulti, Honzik, poor race from Honzik Girls, Amato, who also in P2, I mentioned that earlier, followed by Rats, a race to forget from him. Followed by Varela, Bergers, Pagodl, Lusty and Cryptic, and that is everybody else who stayed in the session. So let's see who we have who wants to come and have a talk with me. We have a few people ready. Let's bring in Amato first. He's got to be not enjoying his experience. Salvatore, that was a great race up until it wasn't.
Yes, it was until the the big crash in Ascari.
I didn't quite catch it on the stream, but I see that's what happened to you. What? How did you lose it there? What happened to you?
Because I had some, I'm on laptop, so sometimes it gets very hot and it's not work anymore. I had some stutter right in the moment when I was changing direction in Ascari. I went on the curb, get confused and killed the race. But at least I had so much fun today.
Yeah, it was. I was mentioning you'd be quite happy with a P2, your home race in a Ferrari. I imagine that if there's a race where you're going to get P2, you want it to be this one. And it was a great way to get up there. You made some great moves, especially around the outside into Ascari. I particularly enjoyed that one.
Yeah, because I found out that there are some corners that, when you are side by side, it's better to go outside. So, and for example, like Ascari or Comb after Kemmel, it's better like that, and it worked also with a bit of luck, and thanks to 1KO kills. I mean, probably with another guy, it would have been over there.
Yeah.
So.
I'm amazed you both made it through in one piece. Great drive from the both of you. But anyway, in spite of the result, that was a great race from you. I think there's your first race that you're able to finish, I think, this season. Am I right?
Yeah, the first race in which I have not a big crash at the start. Because this time I started a little bit more in the front of the grid. So,
yeah, fantastic qualifying. It surprised me a little bit. I was quite surprised that the Ferrari's paced in the hull, to be honest.
Honestly, I should have been a little bit fast, but I didn't make it because there are so many super fast guys in this league. So even a little mistake can cost you 5 or 6 positions. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, the qualifying was insane. Anyway,
yeah.
How are you feeling about next week? It's Mazzano, if I remember rightly.
I should have some pace also next week, so I mean, I'm not that sad because I can have my revenge against fate next time.
Oh yeah, I forget Mazzano is another Italian track, isn't it? You can have your revenge there. And I think Mazzano is going to be a strong track for the 488 as well. I'll see you next.
So.
I'll see you next week, having won that race. Then, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Good night, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Yeah.
Right. Next, we're going to bring in Mike Noble, our race winner. You didn't crash this time. Good job.
Hi there again. No, I didn't.
How was that one for you? You did a pretty bit of a snooze fest from your perspective after you got around 1KO.
Yeah, I started position 3, qualified P3, and I managed to sneak past P2, and then P1 made a mistake, cruised by him, and that's it basically. Just kept on going. I was just in the zone and managed to keep on doing great lap times.
And you didn't have to worry about Hosseini and his AMG. Those AMGs look very, very strong today with 1KO and 1KO Police and 1KO Police and Axel Petit all up there.
AMG is very strong on Monza, so I was wondering where Amir was this time.
I don't think he showed up this week for one reason or another. I was going to say you must be very thankful of that because that would have made your race a lot harder had Hosseini showed up.
Yeah, for sure. Wait, I wasn't expecting P1 for sure this time.
Well, you're going to be very happy at the very least. How are you thinking about Mazzano next week? I don't think that's going to be a Nissan track, although again, you can say that for any track really.
Yeah, it's going to be a very tricky track for sure. Nissan likes to oversteer on power, and Mazzano really has those corners which you're going to oversteer a lot in this car. So I will focus on making great setup, and I will see which place I will get.
Yeah, I think the Ferraris and Porsches are going to be hard to beat at Mazzano, I believe.
Yeah, those cars are very strong over there.
Porsche especially, I'd imagine, with the engine in the rear.
Yeah, exactly.
So, how hard do you reckon it's going to be to... who do you say your biggest rival next week is going to be? In terms of winning, assuming everybody turns up.
I think Lozanov, Amir if he shows up, of course. Reds can be quite fast as well with the Ferrari, so I have to look out for him as well. And Black Gold Saw as well. I think he's driving the new Porsche.
Yeah, he switched the Porsche this week from the Bentley.
I have to look out for him for sure.
Anyway, I'll hope to see the podium for you next time around.
I'll try my best.
I'll see you in here next week.
Sure, thank you.
Have a fun one.
Night.
Right, and our final interviewee is going to be 8 the 8th. So we haven't seen him at all this season. Let's have a chat with him. Welcome. Best result all season. How was that one for you?
Wow, well, let me tell you, that was not easy. I had Jean behind me after the pit stop, and I've never even pushed that hard in my life and been that consistent in my life. I did, I think, 5 or 6 laps back to back, 48.7, 48.7, 48.7, over and over again. But wow, what a race!
Yeah, how was it for you in the Bentley? I imagine it'd be a bit of a struggle bus trying to get that thing around Monza in one piece.
Yeah, I mean the braking zones are a little bit tricky with it. It doesn't like to stop, as you can probably imagine, because of it being just a big boat. But yeah, the general feel of it was that it just wasn't that quick in a straight line, and it wasn't that good on the brakes. But I basically got on today at about 45 minutes to an hour before the race to do some laps. That's the first running I did. Just ran the default aggressive setup, a couple of tweaks, and that was it. Literally just sent it, and it paid off. A few incidents ahead that benefited me, but nothing crazy. But great battle with Capo and Jean and Wonko as well, and Amato. They all drove like ridiculous, like not making any mistakes, and I just couldn't keep up with the lead 3. Obviously, Noble just disappeared, but yeah, congrats to him on the win as well, because he's just unstoppable at the minute.
It's definitely a good show in the Bentley for sure. I was very surprised to see that far up, especially at this track. How are you feeling for Mazzano next week? I assume another struggle bus for the Bentley.
Yeah, I would think it'd probably be quite difficult, because when I did when we all did the time trials for the league at Mazzano, it wasn't the greatest car around there, but I mean, it is what it is. Some cars are good at some tracks, some are good at others. That's what I love about this game. It is, you can pick a car and it not be the best throughout the season, but be good at certain races and not others. So it swings and roundabouts. But, yeah.
Although I imagine you'd have a not as easy time at Monza, but still quite an easy time to overtake at Mazzano. A lot of heavy braking zones and hairpins and whatnot that you can throw your big boat on the inside and force them to go away.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll look to have a better result, because than Brands, which was what my aim was tonight. And if I can replicate that again at Mazzano, I'd be properly stoked like I am already.
You'll get your first podium this season. I'd be even happier. Yeah,
that'd be ideal. I mean, I said in my Twitch chat that wasn't technically my PB, because I got a P3 at Hungaroring last season. That was almost gifted to me with the leaders having a bit of a tangle, but still, you have to get to the end of the race.
You gotta take what you can get.
Yeah, exactly. Luck comes your way, and you make your own luck a bit. So, yeah, happy.
To finish first, you got to finish, which a lot of drivers this week didn't do, and you did, and now you're in P4.
Yeah, that's the one.
Anyway, we'll hope for a podium next week then.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I'll see you in here and even happier, 8 the Ace.
Yeah, thanks very much anyway.
Yeah. See you next week.
See you next week.
That's going to be everyone that we have for interviews, I believe. And unless anyone particularly wants any parting words from chat, I'm going to take this chance to end the stream off. Anyone would like anything else I would like to add before we go away? This is an awesome grid. It's very, very close. The qualifying was insane, as Axel Petit mentioned when he came in chat. But anyway, Mazzano should be a great race next time. We have 1 hour of Mazzano. Weather I'm not sure of. I haven't checked. But an hour of Mazzano. I wouldn't imagine it would be raining, but you never know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for watching.